So once you have your summary statement, what do you actually do to incorporate peer review feedback into your resubmission? That's what we're talking about today. If you're new around here, my name is Sarah Dobson. I am a research grant consultant, and my team and I help early career researchers get funded at NIH. So let's talk about that scenario where you finally have your comments, not just your score. You have your summary statement. You know what the reviewers have said about your application, whether or not it was discussed, right? Because you still do have peer review feedback in the event that your grant was not discussed. And either way, whether you did get your grant discussed or not, there is plenty you can learn from your summary statement. So the first thing to remember about feedback, about peer review feedback, and truly any kind of feedback, is that it's just information that you can use based on your own expertise and experience, right? So what I mean by that is you don't have to agree with any of the feedback. It's totally up to you to say that doesn't make any sense or that's not how I want to do it. But what you need to do in any resubmission or any response to the reviewer critiques is explain why you're doing it your way, right? So again, just remember that that feedback is for you to agree with or disagree with. And either way, you have really useful information and a really useful way forward. So in the event that you agree with the peer review critiques, you know exactly what to do, right? You're in agreement with your reviewers that something needs to change, so you can just go ahead and change that. But if you disagree with your reviewer comments, that is also a way forward. And what you need to do there is really understand what it is that you disagree with or why you disagree with your reviewer critiques. And here's what I will say, just assuming that your reviewer doesn't understand what you are talking about or didn't read properly or didn't read carefully, I want you to dig a little bit deeper, okay? There is certainly plenty of that in any grant review, because remember, these are volunteers who are busy and stressed and tired and dealing with their own workload and also reading, potentially a dozen or more grants per cycle. And so it is very possible that they're going to miss something, right? But chalking up all of your reviewer critiques that you disagree with to they just don't get it is not going to help you at all, right? What you can do with an attitude or a thought like they just don't get it is try to investigate that a little bit. Do they not get it because it went in front of the wrong study section? And it's just not something that these reviewers, these experts are interested in? You can do something with that, right? That is a way forward. It might be that your resubmission needs to be framed in a way where your grant is going to end up in front of a different set of reviewers with a different type of expertise that is more in line with what it is you're trying to do, right? So saying they just don't get it is not useful, but understanding what's beneath that is going to help you. So that is one option. Another option is they just don't get it because you didn't explain it well enough, right? And so again, there is an opportunity for you to do a little bit more in terms of justifying or clarifying the work that you are proposing, right? So again, don't come to a dead end around they just don't get it. Go a little bit deeper and figure out what is underneath that, right? But bottom line here is that you are fully entitled to disagree with your reviewer comments, but the really important piece, of course, is to make sure that in your resubmission, you are doing everything you can to better explain and better justify why you have chosen to design your project in the way that you have, right? That is the key. That is how you respond to reviewer critiques. And if you have the opportunity to submit an introduction to the resubmission, that one pager, when you're submitting an A1 application versus an A0, you want to make it very, very, very clear what those sort of major categories of critiques or feedback from your reviewers are and what you have done to address that, right? So again, you don't have to hide the fact that you disagree with your reviewers on that introduction to the resubmission page. Obviously, for the critiques that you agree with, you want to explain what you've done to address those critiques. But even with the critiques that you disagree with, that is an opportunity to explain what you have chosen to better clarify or justify, that they can then go on and read more in detail in the body of the grant, right? So again, just think about how you are going to approach the critiques, especially that you disagree with, because the ones that you agree with, generally speaking, you know exactly what to do. And so I think this is really where people can get tied up in knots, is because they get these critiques back and they have a really sort of visceral negative reaction that that the reviewer didn't understand what they were trying to do, and that they don't know what to do because they're getting conflicting feedback from multiple different reviewers. Again, you can take the feedback that you disagree with and respond to it in a way that helps you stay true to the work that you want to do, the research that you want to do. The important part is always, always make sure that you are explaining and justifying as clearly and persuasively as possible why you are choosing to pursue your research in the way that you are. That is the bottom line forever and always, in my opinion. So if you found this useful, I highly encourage you to check out our grant funding formula course. We have an entire bonus module on how to respond to reviewer critiques and write a resubmission. It is called Pivot, and it will guide you through the resubmission process, whether your grant was discussed or not discussed. So the grant funding formula is our step-by-step course that walks you through exactly how to write a strong NIH R01 grant. You can find more information about it at the link in the video description. And you can register for the course, and it gives you lifetime access to the course materials, so that you can follow along and use this course every time you write an NIH R series grant. That is it for today.